As soon as it begins, we are informed about the pandemic that spread in New York, known as Yenivpa, which was initially caused by cockroaches, leading to the death of many children. Dr. Peter, who was the head of the health ministry, was extremely troubled by this situation. Therefore, he called upon Dr. Susan, who could resolve the entire situation. She was a genetic engineer and, after approximately 3 months of research, created a bug, or rather, developed a bug that consumed cockroaches. The Doctor Association, with the help of genetic engineering, they created a species that would feel extremely hungry and consume as many cockroaches as possible, leading to their eventual death. This experiment proved successful, and these creatures quickly devoured all the cockroaches that had infested the city. Consequently, many children were saved from the pandemic spread by the cockroaches. By this time, everything was going well, and it was evident that the doctors, including Susan, were heavily invested in the project. It was also shown that the two of them had gotten married. The scenes then transitioned, showing us a scene 3 years later. After leaving the church with someone, they go up to the church roof, but there is a sinister figure whose shadow is visible to us. The figure also reaches the roof, and, in a mishap, the father falls from the roof and dies. This was witnessed by Sarchuri, who lived in the neighboring house. The unknown man then drags the father under the church, and the next morning, the police arrive at the same spot to conduct an investigation. In a week dating to him he speak, under the church alongside the father, there are many other dead bodies as well as many. There were no other people found. To understand what had happened, the police called in a doctor. The doctor explained that either all these people had yellow fever or some similar condition was attacking them. This situation was so critical that Dr. Peter was also summoned. Dr. Peter also felt that this was a pandemic situation. With this in mind, Dr. Peter instructed the police to close all the doors of the church to prevent this pandemic from spreading. Singh refused. Now we are shown the exploitation. While something was being taken out of the small lab, she suddenly encountered 2 children. They had actually come to sell some insects in boxes from the garden to Susan, which she took but didn't pay much attention to them. As soon as she got busy in the lab, she felt a box moving very forcefully. No insect could move a box with such force, so she was surprised and took the insect out of the box. This insect was as big as a rat. Susan wasn't as surprised by its size as she was by looking at its shape and appearance, because it was a crucial time, the same garden that Susan herself had created 3 years ago. But how could it be possible that the creature was still alive because she had designed those boxes in such a way that they would leave after consuming their food? To clear her doubts, she opened her old research and checked the DNA of this bug. Upon finding everything correct, she confirmed that the boxes she had created were still alive, not only alive but growing to dangerous extents. This was a matter of concern. It was here when Susan was investigating this insect. She was investigating. A man in a bone-like outfit was watching Susan's lab, distracting her. Seeing it, Bas took the insect. Its loss upset Susan and she rushed outside to tell her husband Peter. How? A child had given her an insect with DNA matching a fake bug and said it suddenly became hyper during her investigation. Hearing this, Peter got worried too and decided they'd research it. To do this, they needed that bug. Now Susan is heading to the children who used to bring her bugs from the garden. The child says he found it in a station storeroom. Peter and Susan go to check it out. Surprisingly, they see many webs there, likely from the bug. Just as they're about to open the web, a police officer arrives and scolds them loudly. A special warrant is needed to access the storeroom, which they lack. A confrontation might have happened, but Susan calms Peter and tells the officer, "All right, we'll return with a permit." Those who always supplied insects to Susan started feeling guilty. What am I doing? If they found a previous bug for Susan, they would demand a lot of money from her. With this in mind, they went into a small alley where they encountered a large man in an overcoat who had previously killed the father, and in a very strange manner, he kills both the children too. When we cut back, we see the mouse again, who had witnessed the father's murder, and now, for some reason, it decides to click on the window. He entered. In the morning, when they went to collect the chips, Chui was gone. Worried, they began searching for him and informed the police about Chui's disappearance. Despite this, they continued their search and, while looking for the mouse, ended up near the church. Someone mentioned a tip they had received, prompting them to rush to the foreign site, where they found a massive bug almost dog-sized. The doctors wondered how all its organs were functioning. This was no ordinary insect, no ordinary creature. It lived within the whole colony, if such creatures live with many others of their kind. Upon learning this, Susan is very surprised and goes to tell Peter, another member, to look into this. Today, Peter, with a colleague, went to the same subway station to research where they had found Georgeburg. Outside we see Susan had been at the subway station for a while, waiting for Rita and her friends. As they hadn't shown up, she spent the time looking at the pictures below, trying to learn more. It was late at night and the station was empty. Susan needed to leave, but she didn't. Suddenly, she noticed a shadow. A person in a hoodie and jacket came up and asked her the time, but didn't respond to Susan. She began to feel scared, so she quickly turned to leave the station. But then she was startled again. As she turned around, a huge twist was revealed to us. We thought it was a person dressed up. From the start of the movie, it wasn't a person but something of a very large human size, and it now moves forward to attack Susan, then picks her up and takes her into a special tunnel. Inside the tunnel, we see Peter along with some police officers conducting an investigation. Suddenly, we are startled by a small explosion right in front of the leader, as if frightened. When Peter kicks it, it only takes 9 hits under its feet, and the yellow case falls straight to the ground. Inside this tunnel, we see that when Susan regained consciousness, she saw many dead bodies around her. Seeing this, she became very frightened. She knew she would be killed too if she didn't protect herself. So, she picked up something from there and started looking for a way out. As she was trying to escape, a huge juice bug attacked her. Susan, wielding a sword in her hand, attacked it and managed to escape. Susan couldn't find a way to escape from there, so she ended up in a strange place. Quietly, they watched the computer companion who, while researching this area, found many solid eggs. Seeing this, he got scared and realized the place was very dangerous. When he tried to escape, a human-sized creature attacked him, threatening his life. Responsibility. They wanted to catch the thief under the guise of a robbery and ended up near the tunnel. Susan was hiding just below that tunnel. Along with China, they thought of saving Susan's life and went to get some tools to open the tunnel. They were questioning him, asking about his presence there. Was his son lost, which led them there? And now a clear Guinness tuition was visible below. Upon hearing about Susan, the 3 of them joined forces. They were in the process of pulling Susan up. The man's torch falls to the ground, and the sound attracts all the creatures towards them. Before they could attack from the tunnel, the 4 managed to escape their sight. Your people were running ahead in the subway station, with the creatures following closely behind. The West Station had closed for the night, but they had to save their lives. They entered an out-of-service train in the subway station and shut the door. However, one of the creatures got caught in the closing door and died. Actually, he wasn't dead, but was divided into 2 parts, and they realized this when the student injured Officer Tom with his hand. Looking ahead, Officer Apollo shoots and finishes him off. Now, they start investigating this dead creature, where Susan was astonished to see its large lungs because it was the first insect she had seen with lungs. Then, they look at the student's face, and a hole appears on it, which looked exactly like a human face, and seeing this, Susan deduced. They have started pretending to look like humans. It was also suspected that they try to appear human, so that they can easily enter the human world and prey on humans. There is more greed among humans, and these creatures prey on humans for this reason. They sit there quite hungry. The key point is Susan tells the meter that when making the juice, she made a mistake, turning them into avenues instead of meaningful. They changed rapidly, faster than humans. It takes animals millions of years to change so drastically. But these creatures, in just 3 years, transformed so much they began to resemble humans. Now, the 3 of them discuss how their talks attracted many Jutes, who then attacked their train together. Susan notices the smiles of the martyred humans fading. She cleverly takes the organs of the dead Jute's bug and places them on herself and the train, making the Jute's bug think there are no humans inside, avoiding detection. To escape, they need to operate the train. But it's broken, so Joy suggests an idea. Should I go to the train's wiring? Where he could go and fix the train. To repair it, Peter, Joy's dad and brother set out. While Peter and the others worked on the wiring, a big bug appeared before Peter, scaring him. Surprisingly, the students didn't react as it seemed like there was a bug inside him too. Inside the train, Susan tells the police officer that in their colony there's only one female laying eggs, and then their generation grows. If we were to remove that female, the next test would finish this generation. Meanwhile, Joe, who is Ramkund, was noticed by his dad and was perfectly fine. The thing was, he could mimic sounds like Judas. As soon as the Judases came near, he would start sounding like them. That's how he survived until now. The dad was very surprised and happy to see him. Before he could meet his son, a Judas grabbed him and took him away. Hearing his cries, Susan exits the train. She discovered that Juhi's father had been killed, which saddened her profoundly. Meanwhile, Bija began approaching, but suddenly numerous Judas bugs launched an attack. They were uncertain about their subsequent move. To save them, the police officer conceived an idea: get into the lift ahead. He proceeded to the right side, creating noise to lure the bugs. A portion of his plan succeeded. The bugs were attracted to his noise and ultimately killed him. However, the rest of his idea failed because Susan and the mice remained in the lift until many boxes had reached them as well. To save them, Peter risks his life by pulling Susan and the child's lift upwards, venturing deep into the tunnel. We see that the lift was also malfunctioning and rapidly descended where there was a bug below, and due to the lift it was killed once. They were both quite frightened. The one who had entered the tunnel, upon going inside, saw large structures on the ceiling. Inside were Judas bug eggs, and a gas pipeline ran through the tunnel. Upon seeing this, Peter was taken aback and, grabbing an axe, he broke the gas pipeline. His plan was to destroy the entire tunnel. However, his lighter didn't work, so he ran and started striking a piece of metal to create a spark. As soon as a single spark ignited, the entire place exploded like a bomb, with the effects visible on the street outside. Cars and buildings caught fire as well. Under the tunnel, all the small sparks were extinguished, but the seams were cut. At the station above, it is shown that now Susan and the knife were facing the female target they had to eliminate. The most important thing for them was to proceed with caution and attack, but just then, to save her, Susan made a cut on her hand, and the scent of blood attracted the threat towards Susan. Before they could harm her, Susan spotted a train approaching from the front and immediately had an idea. She quickly stepped onto the track where the train was coming. The villain also arrives there to catch her, and just as they are getting close, Susan quickly jumps off the track, and the female antagonist is hit by the train, thus bringing the story to a close. Susan now feels a sense of relief because she has saved the world from a great impending danger. However, amidst all this, she feels that her husband might have been killed. But the story reveals a twist here. When the explosion happened, her husband had actually jumped into the sewage water, and thus his life was saved. And so his life was saved. As soon as he left the hotel, he felt as if he had been given a new lease of life. They were both extremely happy to see each other, and they decided to keep Chewie with them as well. The story concludes with the two of them shown together.